So today I'm going to show you how I not only fill in my brows, but also how I groom them. So this is what we're looking like in the before. We need some help, sis. So we're going to use the Nads facial wax strips. I'm going to take one of the strips and I'm going to cut it in half. And this is what we're going to use first to begin waxing our brows. Rubbing the strip between our hands to get the wax warm. And then I'm just going to carefully place that in between my brows, really being careful to not allow the wax to be touching the front part of my brows, just because I don't want to take off the front of my brows at all. So we're just going to make sure we rub that on in the direction of hair growth, pull the skin taut, and then wax in the opposite direction. And again, it had been a while, sis, so I was like, ooh, when I looked at that strip. But one more time. So we're going to put the strip on there one more time, rubbing it up in the direction of the hair growth, making sure that there's no front of our brows being pulled off here, doing it again for good measure. Then we're going to pull that skin taut and wax in the opposite direction. And I felt like I gotten it pretty clean that time. So there's a little bit of residual wax there, but don't worry about that for now. We'll get that later. So I'm taking a little eyebrow razor. I got these from TJ Maxx actually, and I'm just taking that to clean up any stragglers that I left from the waxing, just because I want to make sure it looks super clean, but I don't want to wax repeatedly because my skin is sensitive. So taking that second half of the strip and cutting that in half, and we're going to use that quarter, so just rubbing that between the palm and the middle finger and then pulling that apart to begin to get the tail end of our brow, because that's what we're going to tackle next. So the same process here, rubbing it down the direction of hair growth. Now this time around, particularly for me, since my edges are quite close to my brows, want to make sure I don't get those, but putting that on and waxing it in the opposite direction, you can see what it's looking like. So just continuing to repeat that process. I think you probably get the process by now, but again, really being careful about those edges, sis. Don't take your edges out when you're doing your brows. That's a no-no. So just even folding it over can help with that, but then pulling it in the opposite direction. Now here I was a little bit concerned when I looked at it that I might have taken off too much, so that's why you see that face. So I just kind of brushed up my brow to get the shape again, and I was like, you know, we're okay and we'll be able to fill that in anyway. So again, taking the strip, rubbing it between my finger and my palm to get the wax form, and then just brushing the brow over to make sure I have the shape that I want, my intended shape. And so applying that wax strip in the direction of the hair growth, and then pulling the skin taut and waxing it in the opposite direction. So again, we're going to repeat this process on the other brow. Watch those edges, sis. All right, so going behind that with that eyebrow razor again, just make sure it's super clean. Trying to shave away from the brow, just because I have accidentally shaved off a little bit more than I've wanted to when I've gone towards it. So just trying to go around it and shave away from it as much as you can to avoid doing that. So then we're going to go in with this post-wax oil within the kit, and I'm also going to take a Q-tip to apply this, and I'm just going to apply it around the area of the brow to remove any of that residue from the wax, but also to soothe the skin. Because I mentioned before, I do have sensitive skin, so this is really helpful for me because it helps me to maintain my skin and not allow it to be too irritated. So just rubbing that excess oil off, and then we're going to go in and tweeze. So I'm going to brush my brows up again so I can see that shape, and then just going in and plucking. So pulling the skin taut and plucking out the excess hairs. I'm not a professional at this by any means, but you can see what we're looking like after plucking. So I do like a fuller brow, so if you want a thinner brow than what I have, you can feel free to wax the bottom as well. I just prefer a more natural look, so I like to have it just plucked at the bottom versus waxed. And so continuing to remove any hairs outside of my intended shape. And I felt like at this point I was liking where we were. So taking some Got2b glue and a spoolie, I'm going to prep my brows to get filled in. So I use this just to keep my brows up and in place. I find that with my hair being as coarse as it is, it typically will fall flat by the end of the day if I don't put something on my brows to set them into place. And so this is what I'm using. Of course, you can obviously use brow products that are intended for this. I know that more brands have been coming out with more affordable options, but this is most cost effective for me. So then I'm taking the Well People Expressionist brow gel. This is really great. I actually love this more than the Glossier Boy Brow. I know that's like a cult favorite, but this is actually my favorite as opposed to that one, because I really feel like it gives you a good amount of product to allow you to really fill in the brow and really do it in one step. Honestly, I mean, you could stop at this step. I will have one additional step that I do, but you could definitely use this brow gel and be good to go here. So I just like to brush that product through with the spoolie just to make sure that I don't have any product that is not evenly dispersed, and then just cleaning up with the little bit of the oil that was left on that Q-tip to remove any excess product that may have gotten around the brow, and just repeating this on the other side. So I mainly have to fill in my tail and the arch of my brow. The rest of my brows are fairly full, but these are the areas that I concentrate the product on, and just getting the product in there and throughout, and keep continuing to brush my brows up because I do like that laminated look. So just using a spoolie to do that, and then going on the outside just to brush them over into the intended shape, and going behind there and cleaning up with that oil on the Q-tip. So at this point, just perfecting, making sure that the brows are matching as well as I can. They're probably cousins, not twins, but then we're gonna go with the Glossier Brow Flick, and I like to shake this up before I use it to get the product activated. You can see I'm dancing a little bit there, but this is really great to just add really natural hair-like strokes into your brows. So I like to use this when I have the extra time. Of course, if you don't have the time to do all this, you can just stop with the brow gel, but I do like to do this when I have a little bit extra time to get the super natural, fluffy, laminated brow look. And please don't mind that Got2b on the back of my hand. We was just trying to keep it moving there, sis. So just going in with hair-like strokes with a light hand so as to not have a Sharpie brow, because I have definitely fallen victim to the Sharpie brow, but I feel like I'm getting better and better as I continue to practice. So just, filling in any sparse areas and being very careful, especially at the front end of the brow, so it doesn't look super blocky, because I've also done that as well. So just going behind that with a spoolie to evenly distribute the product. And we're just perfecting at this point. Again, super light hand here, especially at the very front end of the brow, making sure everything's evenly filled in. And this is what we're looking like. And just a quick little beat that I did to show the reveal. So these are the final brows. Are they perfect? No, but I love them. I feel like they looked good. I feel like I could have done a little bit better on one of the brows, brought it in a little bit more, but hey, I felt like they look good. So if you're looking for a simple routine to do, if you don't want to go in and get your brows done, this is something you can follow. So I hope that this was helpful. Thank you all so much for watching, and God willing, I'll see you next time. Bye.